ever since I was working in K-12, I've been having thoughts about K-12 education automation. I was just reading a report put out for the Gates Foundation on LinkedIn about the pain points in education and why it's so messed up across the board. And they really called out this lack of good API integrations between edtech products as a major problem. I was looking at pay gaps and all of these different things. The research firm that Gates contracted with is called A Street, and I'll include the link to their slide deck in the description of this video if you want to check it out. It's quite revealing and really confirmed a lot of what I intuitively would have said as a practitioner in the space. When I was a teacher at a project-based magnet high school, where we were trying to do standards-based grading, project-based learning, a lot of these best practices, and I just found that the barriers to actually implementing that stuff with fidelity were really high, and lack of integration in the tech stack was a big part of it. And it's a big part of it because a lot of the reason you can't do best practices with fidelity is because you're so swamped with administrative busy work, and you're swamping the students with a lot of busy work. There's a sort of trickle down shifting of administrative busy work burden from district to admins to teachers to students. And so everyone is kind of perpetuating this 20th century legacy, David Grayberian bullshit jobs type of culture where you're checking a lot of boxes and filling out a lot of paper forms. And so it's very hard to actually implement 21st century skills and working practices and train students on those when the teachers aren't trained on them and the admins aren't trained on them. And a lot of the answer to freeing that up is training and also tech integration and automation. Like we had one SIS or student information system called Synergy that really didn't talk to the LMS or learning management systems that we were using. And we had all this rubric standards-based grading going on, which was on paper pretty best practice, but it was really hard to do it at scale and efficiently without more integration between all the different tools we were using. And I think that a lot of these things do have APIs, but there isn't the expertise in districts to actually build the integrations. Like they're not out of the box enough. And of course, public sector is underfunded and doesn't have the right culture to attract the best tech talent. And API integrations are not that hard to build. Like I'm non-technical and I'm basically teaching myself how to build them using low-code tools like make.com, and figuring out how JSON works is really not that hard. I think that there's a lot of room to address these integration pain points if you had a systematic training for teachers and district staff on low-code tools to help them integrate different things. And this is an area that I've thought about trying to go into consulting on or building online curriculum or something to try to address, because it was my pain point. And so it was validating to see this research saying that, yeah, this is a big issue. App fatigue is a big issue for students and for teachers. Clicking between different tabs and apps and having data siloed is a big problem. I'd love to connect with other people who are thinking about this and who might want to think through how a small, nimble, low-code automation agency or training, provider could help to address this pain point. I'm really not set up to sell into big institutional RFPs, nor do I want to at first, but I would love to talk to any independent schools, private schools that are smaller and more nimble to test out some of these solutions. Ideally, if they're using widely used tech SaaS, so like PowerSchool, Google Classroom, Teams, D2L Brightspace, Canvas, LMS. These are all kind of the top ones if you look at the G2 quadrant of type of software. And then taking the top content providers like Newsela, Amplify Science, Edpuzzle, Desmos for math, the big legacy publishers, digital products. And those I don't know if they have APIs really, like HMH or Savas or McGraw-Hill or any of these. They all have digital textbooks now, and they're getting more and more into a digital first format. But some of them, like Pearson, I noticed when I was teaching tries to keep even their walled garden and doing all the assessment. They try to be a one-stop shop and they do all the different grade book and things badly and totally siloed. So you can't actually use it. So instead, what they need to do is open all that up to the API if it's not already. So anyway, if you have thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them.